Hello, everybody. I'm unmuted. I only said that, so you didn't miss anything. But welcome back. Just me tonight. Ashwin missed the first half of the game, and I think he had something after the game anyway, so he only got to see the third and fourth quarter, which is the worst. Because the first half was actually pretty enjoyable. I mean, it was okay. We should have been leading by a lot more than we were at half, um, but still, stay muted, Jonah. Jonah, that might be wise. I think I'm gonna say some things tonight that are going to ruffle some feathers. So I'm gonna start off the show by saying all the little, I guess, excuses or other things that I will put in. Maybe not excuses, that might be the wrong word, but I'm gonna be saying the things that I think the Timberwolves things went against the Timberwolves, because obviously, first and foremost, the refs tonight were insane. And it's weird because this crew is usually a crew that I kind of trust when I see them, but tonight, no, not good. Surely going to be a positive learning environment. I'm joking about being so negative, and like I'm going to be negative tonight, but I do hope to be somewhat constructive with my criticism and not just so negative the whole time. But I am going to say some things that are going to be crazy. But anyways, Timberwolves Daily, thank you for stopping by. Yo, Cam, can we talk more off stream? We can talk more off stream, but you think you've got time to record a video on Cat in the next 3 days? Yes, I should have time in the next 3 days. Yeah, because we don't have any games, so yeah, definitely. Hirsch, why is D'Lo so inconsistent? You see, I saw you on Twitter. I'm confused, but I mean, like, obviously D'Lo is inconsistent. Oh, inconsistent. Yeah. Tonight, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, D'Lo was like our player that kind of kept us in at times, but yeah, also I have no idea what's happening with the chat box right now. Let me try to fix this here. Whoa. Let's try this, because I don't want you guys to have to read the comments like that. Whoa. Bear with me. Technical. We're doing the technical stuff now. Whoa. Actually, I don't know if I can. Oh, there we go. Kinda. Whatever. We're going to deal with that tonight. But yeah, anyways. Excuses is the right word. Yeah, okay, good, Godfrey. So, anyways, to get to the point. First off, if you're new here, like the stream, subscribe. We're over 100 subs thanks to actually somebody from the C&D show. So check them out as well on Twitter. But yeah, we're looking to keep growing. Oops, I just hit the mic. Anyways, the excuses for tonight that we can use instead of blaming individual players, obviously the refs. The refs were insane. The refs completely took over this game starting in the third into the fourth quarter. That end of the third thing was the weirdest sequence of events I've seen in a Timberwolves game, ref-wise, probably, other than maybe like the Kevin Love shot that Sean Marion hit his arm, but that was just like a missed call. This was just like weirdness. They took away a shot. Cat kicks the guy in the nuts and then talks to him as he's on the ground, gets the technical. They nullify the basket. Give the basket. They obviously get all these free throws for the technicals and the flagrants and stuff like that, and then they get the ball and they somehow miss the shot. But so there's one weird turn of events that was insane. So that's one thing. And then it just like we just unraveled, similar, exactly like the game in New York the other day. I mean, the third quarter came and we suddenly were terrible, like so bad. Here, I just changed the chat box because I couldn't stand it how it was. So there we go. It should be better now. Anyways, we just lose composure. We don't come out serious, and it's seemingly when you're at a lot of NBA games, start of like the third quarter, nobody really cares. Like the fans are out getting concessions. Like nobody, like the players are kind of easing back into it, kind of like a very beginning of a game, sort of, except worse. So it was just like an awkward feeling and bad. But then, we just never came back. And in the New York game, they gave us a couple chances, and we kind of executed on those enough to get us back into a close game. This game, we actually were close near the end of the game, but then somebody I'm going to talk about later in the show is out there doing things that is ruining and really costing us the game. I'm not saying it's all on one player, but it certainly is a lot on one player. and then Ant gets tossed, and that's another ref thing. And like Ant, I think I missed the beginning of Timberwolves Daily Show. I don't know. I think I came in right as they were talking about this, but I think I agree with them. Ant, this is kind of on Ant for the ejection. Like I do love one thing that Jim Peterson said. Jim Peterson was talking about how the leader of the team needs to be more composed, and that is Karl Anthony Towns. And he was not composed during that stretch of bad foul calls, and that led to Ant doing that. But at the same time, I mean, like, Ant needs to be better than that. Ant can't buy in just because some one player is doing that, So I like that, but at the same time, like, Ant just can't be doing it. And he knew it right after. You saw it on his face, and I think it just sucks because it was at Atlanta, and he had his family and friends there and stuff like that, so that sucks. But that's his own problem. That's his own problem. So I'd be curious to see what he says after the game. I see that Cat is out there making quotes and whatever. But, okay, what is this Cat's a Scorpio thing? I must have missed something. I have to catch up on chat because we've got Jelson, Gerald, and Godfrey up in here. Let's see. Yeah, so the personal foul game wasn't that close. True, that is so that's why it's an excuse. Man, when Ant was ejected, I was so heated. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, broke my TV. My little brother started crying and asked my parents to help them. I am out on the street. Did Atlanta shoot? Oh yeah, that's what you're talking about. Justin looking for a box to live in. Typical NBA refs ruining perfectly good people's lives. Cat's a Scorpio. But yeah, no, why is the Cat's a Scorpio thing? I don't understand that. He must have said it in an interview. Press conference last night, he talked about astrology. Oh my gosh. I don't like him. Anyways, back to constructive criticism. So that's part of it. Also, back to back, this is a back to back, so like you're not going to win every game. You're a 500 team. Clearly, you can't get above 500, and you almost every time you fall below 500, you try to catch back up. So we're just a very slightly below 500 team. So whatever, you can kind of take this loss as it is, but we're getting to the main point. And this is the question that I'm going to ask everyone in the chat. This is the question. I might put this out on Twitter with my big face taking up half the screen. How many, like, what is our record if the Timberwolves don't have Karl Anthony Towns? Because my answer is it's the same. There is no difference. Karl Anthony Towns does not add much this season specifically to this team. He just doesn't. And it's frustrating because you want to know why it's frustrating? Because he is so talented. He is the most talented player on the team, probably. Who has a 7-foot big man who can shoot threes and drive and, like, that's crazy. There's very few teams that have that, And I just genuinely think that if we had almost any other center from the league, and I'm not even talking top tier centers. I'm not saying like, oh, Joel Embiid, like, Jokic or whatever. I'm saying literally anybody from like Ayton down to like Miles Plumlee or whatever, like if that's our center, I don't think our record's any different. I don't think it's any different. There might even be the possibility it's better. I don't know. He makes so many mental mistakes throughout the game. We were talking in our Discord the whole night about how just like we were waiting because like actually the first half Cat started pretty good. He wasn't in the game that much because Ant and D'Lo were kind of dominating the first half. But then the second half, it's like Towns was just like, yeah, I have to show how bad I am mentally at basketball. I just have to, Timberwolves Daily says, no, I've gone too far. Timberwolves Daily, I disagree. I disagree. I think he has the capability of being a player that makes us win way more games. Like I think he should be the reason that we win or lose every game because of how talented he is. And I think that almost all of the losses that we've had this year have been given such a large percentage of that is due to Cat. Such a large percentage. I just, I just don't like it. Jelson says 82-0 without Cat. With a replacement, we are higher. Gerald, yeah. And then Gerald, if we had a center who played like one and new defense didn't jump on their shot fake, yeah. Godfrey says the second half of the fourth quarter is winning time. Cat and D'Lo don't show up. Yeah, you did have to add D'Lo into there. D'Lo actually was hitting shots then though, but you could. I think the argument could be made tonight. I mean, like he's just chucking at that point. He just has to make buckets, but like you know, and it's just like when you're talking about somebody like D'Lo who's just gonna shoot, and if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like that's really all. It's kind of one dimensional, you know. And that's like one of the biggest things against D'Lo. You know, a lot of people have that issue. Um, but it's just a struggle to watch because like sure tonight he made a bunch down the stretch. I don't exactly. Usually Ashwin has like the stats of how many he would make in the fourth quarter. I feel like he made like two or three threes like half of the last half of the fourth quarter or something like that. Maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly. But then Towns, I mean, you could think of Towns. Towns goes down there with like 2 or 3 minutes left, takes two threes back to back, misses them wildly, and then he goes down on the other side of the court, fouls. I think Lou Williams driving at half court when we don't need to foul, and he has 5 fouls. What is going on in the basketball brain? Clearly nothing. Clearly nothing. Because he's just not thinking of it fully. It's just like watching somebody who's very new and young to the game. That's what it's like. It's watching like a high schooler or younger play basketball and be like, oh shoot, why would I foul with 5 fouls when there's still a minute and a half left in the game? You know, it's just insane. Catching up on chat. He has the basketball skills to be a champion, but the mind and emotions of a 6-year-old. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say. It's unreal how jump happy they are under the basket. Yeah, and that goes for Towns. That goes for even Vando. I mean, Vando had that, I think, last game, or maybe it was tonight. I can't remember. But yeah, 6 cents. We got 6 cents up in here. Let's see. I got hired at a job today, so I can't be too upset. Not going to lie. Jelson, congrats, by the way. But yes, I won't share this with your employer. I don't even know who your employer is. Godfrey says, and not being able to guard somebody one-on-one and bad passing to D'Lo. Oh, add that to D'Lo. Yeah, I mean, I think D'Lo had some good passes tonight. I won't lie, but what's going on? But yes, we did lose. Yes, we did lose. Half step behind everything. 1 second, my dog's going crazy. Okay. But let's see. What else did everybody say? I think Cat thinks too much during the game. 100%. He does. He's thinking because this is something that I said when I was being a little bit nicer to him earlier on this season, maybe even last season. You know, I think he truly, what he's doing is he feels like he has to take it all on himself. Like he has to do everything on the court. That's why he wants to be like Magic Johnson. That's why I say that a lot on this show, because I truly think that he's like, yeah, I have to be the one facilitating. I have to be the one rebounding. I have to be the one scoring. I have to be the one rebounding. Like everything he has to do. And I think that's what's going through his brain at times, because growing up, as these players do, they are all the stars on their younger teams. Like, I mean, weirdly, he played in Kentucky with a very talented roster, but like before then, he's probably playing with like he's like the main guy throughout the rest of his life, you know. And I guess he only played like 1 year, maybe 2, 1 year at Kentucky, I think. But he just wants to do everything, and then on top of it, he wants to show off. He wants to show that he's an all-star, you know. And so he's trying to do like behind the back passes when we're down by 10. And, you know, he's just doing these ridiculous things that are just so unnecessary. But half step behind everything. True. I give Cat the benefit in where if he doesn't spaz out, he will build up that energy inside and explode on a ref. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, I guess. But I think the weird thing for me and the most frustrating thing for me about Cat, or maybe not the most frustrating, one of the frustrating things about Cat is when he is arguing calls, obviously this is some kind of an act, but he argues the ones that are so egregiously obvious, like his offensive fouls, and then there's times where he does these like little touch fouls and he doesn't argue and he just kind of takes it. And I'm like, what is like the mental chess game you are trying to play with the refs here? Because if you're if you just argued every single call all the time, then you're at least like putting the pressure on them to like do something. But instead he does it like opposite. It's just so weird, you know. It just doesn't make any sense. He doesn't want to do the simple things because he needs the validation of feeling like he's the one. That also, I do think that he needs the validation, and I've said this before, but I think that it's a lot about vanity. I don't think it truly is about winning with him. I really don't. I think winning can come, and I think he'd be happy with winning. But I think it's everything else. It's the celebrity aspect of it. He wants people like obviously he's out here trying to like do brand deals with like Aiden Ross, trying to get him to get to the All-Star game, and like I don't even know how to say this other person's name, Gideon or Dijon or something like that. He's out here trying to partner with these people, and I don't think it has anything like I think basketball might even come second or third in his life. It's just not, and that's fine. But as a fan, that's not fine to me. For him personally, he has to do whatever he wants to do. But as a fan of this team, who unfortunately has spent my entire life rooting for this team, like I'm mad at that. Like I want a person that it's fine if you want to have those outside of the court things. That's not a problem. I'm not saying you have to dedicate your entire life to basketball, but I don't think that it is at the forefront of him really, truly caring. Like I don't think that's a thing. But yeah, let's see. Catching up. The playoffs will be a wreck with him. Yeah, and I do think, saying all this and complaining about all this stuff, we're going to make the playoffs this year. I'm almost certain of that. And I'm glad we're going to make the playoffs because I do think that we need to get beat. But, I said that when we were with Jimmy Butler, when we started losing, we like when we lost in the playoffs or when we started losing when Jimmy was out, it was like, oh, this might be a wake up call for like Cat and Wiggins and whoever, And instead we go through the playoffs and nothing, So I just feel like we didn't lose anything. But Cat has some strange tendencies. True, Jonah. That was annoying after cutting it to 6 and then 12 very quickly. Exactly. We won ESPN. What are you talking about? 6 cents. But that is, Cat cares about the ESPN coverage and national games and stuff like that. That's more important to him than a lot of other things. As a mental exercise, honestly, guys, put yourself in the head of a Wolves team tonight. Think of how hard it has to be to come in tomorrow and watch Cat pretend like he's the leader of the team. I 100% agree with that. I don't know how you could, It's like, how can you take him seriously after tonight's performance? And I know everybody's going to talk about like the box score or whatever, and sure, he probably had like a decent box score game. I don't know. He always does. But the breathing exercises on the court tonight, I missed that part too. I kind of stopped watching at a point because I just thought we were going to lose. And then I heard them talking about breathing exercises, and I thought that was funny. So, oof. Lakers and Clippers are leading right now. Great. But I still think we'd have to have like a catastrophic end of the season, the last half of the season, to not make the playoffs. Because we have like, what? We're like 5 or 6 games above the 11th seed or something like that. It would be insane. Lakers and yeah, you just said that. And then Jonah says, adding to Gerald's point, it's unreal how much D'Lo has matured over time, and Ant bringing up so much energy to morale to this team. It's like they have so much. They have just as much impact. That's true. I think Ant and D'Lo are better leaders for this team, and I think Towns is the leader on paper. I don't know how it is in the locker room. I don't know how it is in practices. Obviously, I'm not there for that kind of stuff. But, it's Ant is clearly a better leader. Tonight, obviously a bad example. He came out strong, and I'm so disappointed because I was really hoping for like a good game from him tonight. And it was good until the injection. And then D'Lo shined tonight as well. He had plenty of points scoring tonight, which kept us in the game and a lot of points, and kind of like thwarted any comeback efforts in the first half for the Hawks. But D'Lo seems to not care about Oney. Says too. Yeah, he does not care. D'Lo really does not care. Playing games are not making the playoffs, in my opinion. Yeah, I see, Godfrey. I've kind of had the same mentality. Like, it's not really, but it is still playing. Like, I view the game 82 or 83 or whatever it was against or 82 against the Nuggets, as a very important game for the Timberwolves. Like that's a must-win game because if you lose, you're out of the season. Your season's over. So sure, maybe it's not a playoff game, but it is an important game, and it's one where things really actually matter. Because I think the 7 and 8. I don't remember exactly what it is. The 7 and 8 seed play a best of 3, and then the 9 and 10 seed just play a 1 game, like elimination kind of deal. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think it's something like that. But yeah, it's no, okay, I'm not sure. 6 cents says, why did he get ejected? So he just argued a call. It was really kind of a standard argue of a call. Like he just got in the ref's face. He does this kind of a lot, and luckily he doesn't get teed up for it. Tonight he got teed up for it, and he kind of kept looking at the ref. Got it. I think it was kind of warranted, unfortunately. But yeah, I was hoping for a D'Lo comeback tonight when they got within 10. I know. I couldn't believe with like 3 minutes to go we were even close. I was assuming we were down by like 20 or something like that. But Jimmy had the same instant tonight with the text. Really interesting. Okay. 7 and 8 have to win 1 of 2. 9 and 10 have to win 2 in a row. It's the opposite. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I don't really understand that. Anyways, 10 plays 9, and then the winner has to beat 8 twice, I think. Okay. I don't know. I'm confused. Regardless, it's still a game that matters, more than any regular season game by far. So, those games though, I would hope that we'd have a chance in those games because we're playing the lower tier teams, but a lot of those lower tier teams right now are injured teams. I would be okay with playing the Lakers, but yeah. Cat is super good in games that matter. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic. I will say that I think you're being sarcastic because I like the playoff games last year. He was terrible. And I think the games where he is good is where he has like some personal vendetta against some other player or like media or something. When he has, it's like kind of like Andrew Wiggins. He has like that Andrew Wiggins-esque game, except it's always against like the other bigs, like Jonas or not Jonas. My goodness. I mean, he does not play well against them. Against Jokic, against Gobert, against Embiid, those kind of games. But yeah, the big boys. 7 and 8 have to win 1 of 2. 9 and 10 have to win 2 in a row. So why would they give 9 and 10 2 more chances though? 7 plays 8, winner gets in. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's interesting. That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. Thank you for explaining. He's super good in games where we don't need it that much or are front running. Yeah, true. Well, anyways, I think we're gonna get to the tier list, and we'll be able to talk about each one of these players individually. Let me see if this even pulls up. There it is. Oh, and see, this is why I probably should not have done what I did with the chat box. So let me bring it back here. 300. Oops, not 3,000. There we go. Sorry if your chats get deleted briefly. There we go. Okay. Anyways, okay. So, tonight, we're going to go through these players in the beginning pretty quickly. I don't want to talk too much about each individual player. I mainly want to talk about our starters and get there. Test. Thank you for the test. Appreciate it. Please keep Cat in up next. Just keep him in up next. Yeah, seriously. All right. Am I looking at the right one? Yes, it does look like I am. Atlanta. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. He doesn't deserve a grade. I don't disagree. All right. So let's start with, let's see, who do I have on here? Well, we won't do Bev because Bev kind of got out early, so that doesn't really matter. And he's one of the starters, so I guess it really doesn't matter. He only plays 6 minutes. Apparently he's got an ankle sprain. I didn't see it happen, but I saw them talk about it. So that sucks. And then, let's see. Let's just do these 7 players then. So, we're going to start with Jaden McDaniels. I want everybody to get your grades in for Jaden McDaniels. Okay? Wow, I don't know. No, 7 had to play in. I don't like that play in. Yeah, 7 does have to play in, Godfrey. That's why I was, I think, a little confused. 7 does have to play in, but it didn't make sense to me. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Or beyond it. So, I like that they get a chance to stay in, though, if that's the case. Okay. So, grades are coming in for McDaniels. Jelson, okay, so let's see. Jelson says C. Gerald says Wancho. Jonas says C. All right, let me read them off for you. Let me read off the stats. So he played 17 minutes, had 4 points. 4 points. 2 of 5 shooting. 3 personal fouls. A negative 20 in the plus minus. I Gerald says, I give him a wancho for all the reasons I complained about him during the game chat. Yeah, during our Discord. We were kind of going off a little bit on Jaden in our Discord, I won't lie. I am getting really tired of seeing Jaden. I mean, he didn't take that many shots. It's weird because I thought he took a bunch of shots tonight. But I think I'm remembering more of the Knicks game last night. And it was just frustrating me because, like, at times in the Knicks game, he was doing great. And then there was times when he was doing terrible. Tonight, I think it was overall a very bad game for Jaden. Wancho has yet to be... Yeah, he was traded again. So we won the Patrick Beverly trade again. See, I'm just glad he didn't shoot more. True. I think I am somewhat remembering more of the last game. Tonight, he wasn't really that much of a contributor. I'm not going to go as far to say he's a Wancho or Glenn Taylor tier tonight. I mean, personally, in my opinion, I've said this from literally day one of this season. I am not a big believer in Jaden McDaniels. I am one of the very few people that is not a big believer in Jaden McDaniels. That's not to say that I don't want to see him succeed, because I think he can succeed. Well, actually, I don't know if I do think he can succeed. I really don't. And I think people are really high on him when they maybe shouldn't be. I think people think of him as like some Scottie Pippen-esque player. I don't see that. But we're not talking about the year. We're talking about tonight. And tonight was bad. Lots of defensively missed plays. He's getting too easy getting screened just due to his frame. I mean, he's like so tiny. Bad game in my view. I really didn't think there was anything redeeming, and I certainly don't expect this from him. I expect more out of him. So I'm going to give him a D tonight. I think that is fair. I think this is a really bad game, and honestly, some of this grade could fall more on Finch or just the coaching staff in general. I don't really understand what everybody's infatuation is with trying to play him in minutes where we need shots. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I understand him getting in there for like rebounds or defense or something, but like we're putting him in there in situations where it's like, oh, we need like a shooter, and it's like, no, that is not what I want to see. But Gerald is pulling a cat and being over emotional about McDaniels. Yeah, I think that's probably true, and I think that's what I kind of had to say to myself too, because like realistically, I do think that he's a lower tier, but I do think, to be fair, I think this is fair. Okay, anyways, I said I didn't want to spend a lot of time on these players, and I am. Next up, Jalen Noel. So Jalen played the same amount of minutes as McDaniels, had 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 personal fouls. He was actually a team low -22 tonight, which is strange. It must just, I mean, he was out there at the same times as McDaniels probably. So, you know, I didn't feel like, I felt like he actually was, it was kind of nice to have him in there at times, but yeah, getting the grades in for Jalen, it looks like. So Jelson says Jalen deserves an A every game. Gerald says high C for Noel. I don't care what anyone says. Jelson, yeah, I know. I have been a really big fan of Jalen recently, which is crazy because I was not a huge fan coming into the season of him. But I really am. I feel like he has this it factor about him lately that I am really liking. But the big boy, welcome back in the chat, says Jalen C. I agree with most of you. Yes, and Jonas says C. I agree with everybody except for you, Jelson. Sorry. I mean, there's a part of me that does want to put him in A just because I never expected anything out of him this season. But I do think that now that we kind of have an idea of what to expect from him, this is kind of what we expect from him. So, like, obviously we hope for those like 17-point games or 20-point games or 30-point games or whatever. But that's not realistic to expect from like your 7th or 8th man off the bench, you know. So I mean, 9 points, 3 rebounds, decent night. I mean, defensively, he's never going to be anything wild, but he's there for offense. He's kind of like Malik Beasley, just a little bit more efficient. So I'm down for a C for him. But Jalen can be our team's Lou Williams. I mean, that's kind of what it felt like, you know. He can make those threes. But we need, man, Lou Williams on our team would be insane. I own way too many rookie cards of Jalen Noel. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to own, probably. All right, next up, who do we got? We've got Malik Beasley. So I was just talking about Malik. Malik had 16 points, 6 of 16 shooting, 4 of 12 from 3. Did we get our RBs tonight? We must have, right? Yes, we did. J. Oh, I thought you were giving him a J tier. Um, okay, so first I'm checking for Arby's because I want to see if we got any Arby's tickets because that's the most important thing. No Arby's tickets so far. Usually they do this after these gut wrenching losses. They put out free tickets, but the next game is against the Nets, so I'm sure that they don't really have that many tickets to give away. Anyways, back to Beasley. So Beasley, 16 points. I just said it out loud, and 4 of 12 from three. So weirdly, it didn't. I mean, I don't know. I'm like the wrong person to grade Malik Beasley every night because I have this weird like fascination with him, thinking that he makes all his shots when he really doesn't. But let's see. You get those Nets tickets yesterday? Those are heat. What Nets tickets? Well, I got the Nets tickets for my little season pass thing, but I haven't gone to any games recently just because of like COVID stuff and just weird stuff. So I haven't gone. Might go on Sunday. I said that last Sunday against the Warriors and I missed that game, but might go. We'll see. See Beasley, and I'm pleased it's looking up for him. It does kind of feel like that. I mean, like, I think with shooters, you're going to have to deal with some streakiness. With him, we've dealt with like a half a season of not really that much protection, but it does feel like it's going in the right way. They gave out Nets tickets for Arby's after the yesterday's game. They did. I didn't see. I was looking. I must have missed it. Interesting. I didn't see. Darn. I would have done that. Did they have? If they had lower level, then I feel bad. If they only had upper level, I don't feel bad. Okay. Anyways, I agree with whoever said it in chat. I think he was a C tonight. Okay. I keep looking in the wrong spots. This is what I expect from Beasley. I don't expect any more. I don't expect any less. So there it is. Next up. Oh, I keep looking at the wrong places. I forget that I have the up next here. So now we're on to the starters. Obviously, no Patrick Beverly. We give him an A1 just for... I mean, honestly, the beginning of the game was really good. And just the pace from everybody. Beverly did have like a rebound, 2 assists. He did take 2 shots. Also, ever since I said that you trust anything more than a floater from Beverly, he's missed every floater. So, terrible. They had 6 total available, and I got 2. Please don't be talking about lower level. Anyways. Where was I? Let's do Vanderbilt. We're not going to even grade Pat Bev, but Vanderbilt played 20 minutes, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 of 7 shooting, and he fouled out of the game. I didn't even realize that. So Vanderbilt tonight, I didn't ask you guys for a grade, but go ahead and give him a grade. I think for his grade tonight, it was kind of a Vando game that we expect. I guess, I think this is a pretty close game to what we expect from Vando. Like, there's some effort plays. The 3 steals obviously is good. And this definitely felt better than the New York game for him because in the New York game, he wasn't really there. So I guess I'm kind of tending to lean a little bit higher. Beverly does get injured a lot, it seems. Godfrey. B. No, I'm higher. I'm going to the court, though. Me and Dave going to chat for a bit about the game. Nice. The steals were all super good. Yeah, that's true, the big boy. I agree. We're going to go... I think we're going to go B. I think he deserves it tonight. Also, I didn't pick it up from my mailbox yet, but I believe that I have a Vanderbilt remix edition jersey from DHgate in my mailbox. So I'm going to go check that after the game. If it looks cool, maybe I'll post it on Twitter. Maybe not, if it looks really bad. So I've waited for this for literally 3 months. It took that long, or maybe 2 months. I can't remember. It's been a long time. All right. Next up, get your grades in for Anthony Edwards, who was ejected from the game. Anthony Edwards, where'd he go here? So he had he only played 23 minutes, but he had 20 points, 5 rebounds. He was 7 of 16 shooting, so he actually missed quite a few shots. But I mean, 7 of 16 is not the worst. 4 of 10 from 3. God, he takes so many threes. 2 personal fouls. But he was one of the better players for the Wolves tonight, unfortunately, since he got ejected. But let's see here. We need full on Vando back. True, Gerald. True. Let's see. Steals were all super good. Catching up on old things. Check now, please. C. Ant was on track for an A. Honestly, this is kind of an interesting one because he was on track for such a high one. Like, if he would have played like that the whole game, we're talking AA1, We don't know what could have happened in the third and fourth quarter. He could have kept us in the game. He could have won us the game. Let's see. What was Ant doing getting in the ref's face like that? Godfrey, I agree. You can't do that. He's done that actually multiple times over the last few games. Multiple. So he can't keep doing that. It cannot keep happening. I would give Ant a B. Who is that? The Flame. Welcome to the chat, Flame. I don't think I've seen that name before. If I have, it hasn't been very frequent. So I appreciate you stopping by. Jelson says Ant is E for ejected. Jelson, thank you. The big boy says, no joke, this feels like one of those games where if we go and lose 5 after this, we will look back and say this is where the season imploded. Honestly, true. But we've had multiple of these games where it kind of feels like that. So Dane Moore tweets right now, Finch response to the refs is a good read. More worried about the team. Worried the team will get fined for comments, though. Yeah. E for ejected. I know, that was funny. I think I'm going to actually go in line with what Gerald said here. I think he's a C tonight. I think Ant is a C purely because he took himself out of the game. I don't care if Carl is doing all this crap to take us out of the game. It doesn't matter. You can't get caught up in that. And I know that's difficult, but you just can't. You can't have. He's one of the best players. He's like top two players on the team. Skill wise and obviously performance wise tonight. So it's frustrating to have a player like that take himself out of the game. But it was an A game. So, the beginning of the game was great. He was playing great. Defense has fallen off for Ant a little bit lately. I don't have specific examples that I can really say. Just a general, it's just not been as good. It's not like in the beginning of the season where you'd, notice. He was getting so many steals a game. He was getting blocks. He was just hounding offensive players. That's not happening anymore. But, let's see. It bothers me to no end that Ant is looking and learning from Cat each day. True. And it scares me to think what rubs off on him. Man, I hope not much. I think Ant is strong enough and just the type of person that isn't going to let somebody else totally impact him. So I feel safe there. But still, you don't want that. You don't want that kind of a attitude and leadership around him. I don't want that. Is there a worse mentor other than Westbrook? Yeah, I was thinking we should trade Cat to the Lakers. And not really I'm not saying get back Westbrook. I'm not saying get back anybody crazy. Just trade him there and see how that team operates. God, can you imagine? Oh, Ashwin would implode. But anyways. All right. Godfrey, it's your section of the show. We are on to the D'Angelo Russell part of the show. So, 31 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Get your grades in, everybody. 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. He was 10 of 18 shooting and 5 of 13 from 3. So he actually missed quite a few threes. 6 of 9 from the line. He got to the line the most of anybody on the Wolves tonight. Did have 4 turnovers and 2 personal fouls. Holy moly, Jelson just wrote an entire paragraph. But get your grades in. Ant just stopped paying attention and let Kevin Huerter slip away from Vando. That is true. Yep. Kevin nailed the 3 and I proceeded to scream. Yep. Who is this D-Lo? Agree, Gerald. Cat is a bad influence. Good. See, look, this is constructive. We're all learning. Well, we're not all learning. We've all known this. Why does Vando guard Trey? D'Lo can't do it. That's right, but also Vando. Vando's our best defender, one of our best defenders. We're grading D'Lo. D'Angelo Russell. So, I think this wasn't a bad game from D'Lo. I don't know. I think this was a good game from D'Lo. I know that Godfrey's going to say something insane, but I do think this was one of D'Lo's better games. Defensively, it's still been a struggle. I think that D'Lo's just a hard one to grade defensively because I do think that he is somebody that maybe understands the game a little bit better, but there's a lot of effort plays that he does not necessarily go for. And that's closing out on people or just noticing people. It's just bad. So, but I don't know. I think D'Lo had a good game. He kept us in it at many points. Almost brought us back at the end of the game. 4 turnovers is not good, but it's also not insane. Let's see. D'Lo, CeeLo, Belo. Elo contest looked better live. Tests look live. Yeah. Um, the only one who kept his composure, Marion. That is very true. He is the only one that kept his composure, and we needed up two of our three big players keeping composure, and they couldn't. Like at the stadium, yeah. Felt like a baseline definition of a B game. Yeah, I think I agree. I think this was a B game for him. I'm still waiting for Godfrey to put his 2 cents in, but I think this was probably a B game from him. I mean, he points wise, he kept us in. He had some good passes. Like we started off the game again, really good. We just didn't keep it there. So even though it's 31 points, it's a lot. It's still just a B, just because I mean it's better than we expect probably. But obviously you'd hope for a little bit more defensively, and obviously the passing. But I mean we were missing some shots a little bit tonight, so yeah, I think B is probably a fair grade for him tonight. Not perfect certainly, but was really one of the only players keeping us in the game. So I think that's the reason he's a B. All right, we are on to Karl Anthony Towns. I want everybody to get your grades in for Karl Anthony Towns. I will not say my grade until all grades are given in chat, but I will read his stats off because that's all that matters to the casual Timberwolves fan. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 of 13 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3, 6 personal fouls, 4 turnovers, a negative 12. Please leave Cat in the up next, I beg. Juan Taylor. Ooh, that's a new tier list. Offensive stats wise, he had a decent game, but Finch had to hide him on D. Yeah, I mean, Godfrey, that's true. That's valid. Let's see. Gerald, Glenn Taylor, Cat, possibly the worst meltdown of his career. I don't think I'll ever forget this game. Honestly, that's a good point. So Glenn Taylor could be kind of the opposite of A1. It'll be games that you can't forget for bad reasons. Juancho's like, God, you suck. Like a Beasley game where he just goes like 1 of 12 from 3 or something like that. Which I guess he was only 4 of 12 from 3 tonight. But you know what I mean. Like something like that. So maybe that's the new definition of the Glenn Taylor tier. I agree with Gerald in what your analysis was there. Possibly the worst meltdown of his career. It's crazy too because he started the game and I actually had pretty high hopes. I was in our Discord kind of saying, this is actually looking kind of good from Cat. I don't hate this so far, and this is the time where I'd probably expect a really bad game, or like I'd be expecting worse things by now. Glenn is the opposite of A1. True. As we talked about to open the show, I mean, Cat was wildly disappointing tonight. Terrible shot to make taking in the fourth quarter. Obviously, we want him to take more shots, but he's got to make them. In the last game, honestly, I did not like most of the Knicks game the other day from him, but he made the big plays when it mattered, like a star should. He made the and one with 29 seconds to go in the fourth. So there, you give yourself a 2-for-1 situation. You do it all, and you get to talk shit or whatever. But guess what? Tonight was the opposite. You lost the game for us in every way imaginable. Every way imaginable. I liked him out of the gates. True. Why is Juancho in Glenn Taylor now? I think I accidentally moved him down. I think he's always actually been in Glenn Taylor. I think he has. But we are going to let's see, what is Godfrey saying? For anyone interested in basketball and astrology mixed together, there's a good movie called The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. What are you talking about, Godfrey? I know you're referencing Cat's post game or whatever, but oh gosh, now I have to watch Cat's post game from last night, and I really don't want to. Okay, well, I think all the grades are in tonight. Karl Anthony Towns, the max player on the Timberwolves, the player who is our leader, unfortunately, is getting. Where's he going? Is he going to go in A1 tonight? No. Is he going to go in Glenn Taylor? Is he going to go in A? E? Juancho? It's Glenn Taylor. It is a Glenn Taylor night. Because you want to know why it's Glenn Taylor? Because it's the same old, same old. the same mistakes we see over and over again with the Timberwolves. It is a game that we will never forget. A meltdown. It is, honestly, I think this is the first Glenn Taylor tier of the year. Towns is probably of the mindset that he did not lose this game for the Timberwolves tonight, which is exactly why it should be Glenn Taylor tier. 100% why. It was just terrible, you know. It was a bad night, and now we're getting quotes coming in live to the Built from Day One studios. Okay, let's see. It's on. This is actually Bill Kennedy on the Edwards ejection. Sorry. Actually, no, he did something about Towns. At the end of the period, replay review is triggered when a basket is made. It was observed during the review that a flagrant foul was committed by Towns for kicking the defender, therefore nullifying the basket. The technical foul was given to Towns for taunting. Whatever. That's whatever. Anyways. It was just, I mean, like, you know, this was exactly Gerald. It felt like someone scripted the game to pull a sick joke on me because he did 100% of what I hate consistently. Yeah. You know, it's like everything he did tonight was, we had it all, you know, like there's a lot of games where he does like a lot of behind the back passes, you know, there's a lot of games where like he doesn't take shots and it's like, why aren't you taking shots? There's a lot of games where like he's doing a lot of arguing with the refs. Guess what? We had the trifecta. We had everything. We had everything happen tonight. He only took 13 shots. He got a flagrant foul and a technical to overturn a bucket that he made. He was getting beaten by a Wongway. Like all of these things, you know, Godfrey, Towns can't dominate the Hawks centers. Apparently not. Which is just the other reason why I've said it before the season. I really think that it just doesn't make sense to have Towns on this team going forward. I would much rather go forward on this team with D'Lo and Ant than Towns and anybody else. It's sad to say because I was so excited. I was so excited about the possibility of this team and this trio. Towns just isn't it, though. He's just not. Cat's last foul was dumb. It was the worst foul I've seen all season. Close game. You actually have a chance. You would come from way down. You know, you could have had a repeat of the New York night. And instead, it's just a loss that is totally on Cat. Most of the Trey threes were over Towns. That is also true. Towns closes out to the centers that don't shoot threes faster than he closes out to the actual three-point shooters. Given, I mean, he's obviously more worried about them blowing by him, but whatever. Check the highlights. We will. But that was Towns' night, and Towns is Glenn Taylor. Yeah, what did they say about Ant? Let me see. Actually, the NBA like official thing put out a tweet apparently about this whole situation. Apparently, it's like that bad or something. Bill Kennedy says the first was for an overt gesture and use of profanity directed towards the official. The second was for aggressively approaching the official while continuing the use of his profanity. I mean, that's funny to hear. But yeah, like I do agree with, I mean, unfortunately I agree with the refs in that situation. I don't want Ant to be thrown out, and sure, maybe is that soft? Sure. Like that's soft. But like, you know, I also think that like these refs are people too, and as somebody that's worked customer service, I'm always going to be on the side of somebody that's getting yelled at versus the person that is doing the yelling, even if it's Ant, who I love. I just think it's more of a mental mistake. It's less about what it meant and what he said and those things. It's that he took him out of the game. And I don't care what the rules are. I don't care what it is. You knew the rules. You know that you can't do something like that, and you took yourself out of a game. Not only a game like that, but a game that was super important for the Timberwolves and important for you personally. You know, like you have all your family there. Like there were people requesting tickets from Ant like 30 minutes up until the game. You know, it's lame. It is. I agree. But at the same time, it just you can't let yourself get taken out of the game. You know, similar to like so good analogy, I guess, is like think of the Cowboys. You know, the Cowboys 49ers game. If any of you watched that, Cowboys were atrocious all game, and then they suddenly start to come back. They do some weird quarterback sneak play with only 15 seconds left and no timeout, and then the ref like runs into Dak trying to like spot the ball, and then they don't get the playoff. That's on the Dallas Cowboys. Sure, that's a crazy, egregiously stupid thing by the ref to like run and tackle the quarterback as he's trying to snap the ball. But like, whose fault is it that you're in that position? It's the Cowboys' fault. They also had 14 fouls, and like that's just the thing. But the ref is a blanking blank. I don't think the refs, other than the two obvious bad things, were any different than any other night. Yeah, that's true. Everybody knows what will happen if you approach the ref like that. Exactly, Godfrey. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like what you're doing, and you're towing a line, and why would you do that in this situation? And also, it's like Ant argues these calls now, which maybe is rubbing off from Towns. Like he argues these calls where it's like, why are we arguing this? Like there's contact, and certainly the Timberwolves. I mean, Timberwolves get so many bad calls towards them. Is insane, and they do need to argue them, but like you can't, like what he did. You can't do that. But anyways, that was the game. We've almost gone for an hour by myself. I don't really want to talk about it. I want to go get my jersey. I want to see what it looks like, unbox it. I want to see what that looks like, and I also am excited to have a few days off. I'm probably going to be, as you saw earlier in the chat, I'm probably going to be doing some content with Timberwolves Daily, so keep an eye out for that. We might talk a little bit about Towns and stuff like that. He is definitely not as far off the deep end as I am with Towns, so it might be kind of an interesting conversation to have, because a lot of us are kind of on the same page here now. We've had people in the past that have been very angry at us for our opinions on Towns, but I think it's coming to light. So I think it'll be an interesting conversation regardless of what we're doing. And we'll see. And Gerald, I appreciate you. Gerald has joined our Discord, and some of you might also be in the Discord. We're doing game threads now, so we can kind of chat during the game and let out all of our frustrations or excitement. So that's gonna be kind of fun to do. So if you feel like it, join the Discord. It's on our Twitter. I still need to figure out the bot to like post links in here too. I haven't done that recently. I only did that on Twitch, but might be back on Sunday night. Maybe if I go to the game, it'll be a little trickier for me to do a show quickly after the game. So we'll see. And I still have my reservations about going to a game in person still. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean it's an important game, and especially if we win, like that'll be something to talk about. So but yeah, anyways, appreciate all you for stopping by, checking out the stream, subbing, liking, commenting. I appreciate it all. We will be back on maybe Sunday, and then I was gonna read the games coming up. Let's see here. What games do we have coming up? So we play the Nets. That's an unfortunate, hard game for us, and then still a pretty rough stretch. So we play Portland. That's always kind of a toss up. Portland's been bad this year, but still, they're not like a guaranteed win. We play Golden State at Golden State. We play the Suns at the Suns, the 1 and 2 seeds. Then we play the Jazz, who might be the 3 seed. Terrible. And then February is a lot lighter for us. So then we play the Nuggets. We play the Pistons back to back. We play Kings back to back. We play like the Pacers, the Raptors. We've got some easier games. So looking brighter in February, but we still got to get through January, which is why it's important that we win every possible game we can now so that we can gain some kind of advantage going forward. So anyways, that's it. I'm done. Sick of talking. My voice hurts. My throat hurts. And I will see you sometime. Maybe with Ashwin. Maybe. Yeah. Just got to get past the next game. All right. Intro's the outro. I'll see you sometime. Bye.